From a fictional blood spatter analyst who wrapped kill rooms in plastic and dumped bodies in the Gulf Stream to a postal worker who terrorized New York City with a .44 caliber revolver and got caught because of a parking ticket. In this video, we're comparing Dexter Morgan's methodical precision against David Berkowitz's chaotic street shootings. First up, we have intelligence. Forensic professional versus postal worker. Dexter Morgan operated with specialized forensic knowledge specifically designed to eliminate all physical evidence from crime scenes. Dexter worked for years as a Miami Metro's bloodstain pattern analyst. According to both the Showtime series and Jeff Lindsay's novels, not only did he serve as a bloodstain pattern analyst, he also testified as an expert in criminal trials. His daily work involved photographing crime scenes, analyzing blood patterns to reconstruct homicides, and understanding exactly how investigators process evidence. His kill rooms followed strict forensic protocols, entire spaces wrapped in clear plastic sheeting to prevent fiber transfer, surgical gloves to eliminate fingerprints, power saws for precise dismemberment, and heavy-duty contractor bags weighted with rocks for Gulf Stream disposal. He understood DNA transfer, trace evidence collection, fiber analysis, and forensic examination procedures because he actively participated in those procedures professionally every single day. Dexter's intelligence was specialized for one purpose: avoiding detection. His forensic training meant that he knew exactly what Miami Metro's crime scene investigators looked for at murder scenes. Plastic sheeting prevented fiber evidence and blood spatter from contaminating surfaces. Dismemberment prevented victim identification even if bodies washed ashore. Gulf Stream disposal carried remains thousands of miles into the Atlantic Ocean. His professional position gave him unprecedented access. He could monitor his own cases, access police databases to research targets, and even manipulate evidence if necessary. When scuba divers accidentally discovered his dump site in Season 2, investigators found only skeletal remains in bags with no evidence linking the remains to Dexter. Dexter's professional forensic training created near-perfect crime scenes where physical evidence simply didn't exist. But before we continue, if you're enjoying this forensic breakdown, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss on our crime analysis videos. But what about a killer whose only qualification was sorting mail? David Berkowitz possessed no forensic knowledge and left physical evidence at virtually every shooting scene. Berkowitz was a 24-year-old postal employee when police arrested him on August 10, 1977. He joined the U.S. Army in 1971 and served for 3 years, distinguishing himself as a talented marksman before his honorable discharge in 1974. In March of 1976, he began working as a part-time mail sorter at a U.S. Postal Service hub in the Bronx. His education consisted of high school completion and military service. Nothing involved forensic science, evidence collection, or crime scene investigation. He used a Charter Arms .44 Bulldog revolver during most of his crimes and sent letters mocking police and promising further crimes. Berkowitz used his own properly registered 1974 Galaxy sedan as his getaway vehicle for each attack, not bothering even to acquire stolen license plates. Police found in his car ammunition, maps of crime scenes, a threatening letter, and under the seat in a brown paper bag, the .44 Bulldog revolver he used in his crimes. Berkowitz's complete lack of forensic awareness created a trail of evidence. He used his own registered vehicle at crime scenes. He left .44 caliber bullets at every shootings that ballistics could match. He sent handwritten letters to newspapers that provided handwriting samples. He parked illegally at crime scenes where parking enforcement could document his presence. His marksmanship training from the Army gave him shooting accuracy, but taught him absolutely nothing about evidence elimination. Every shooting left shell casings, bullet fragments, and witness testimony connecting the crimes. Berkowitz's postal work and military marksmanship training provided zero forensic knowledge, leaving obvious evidence at every crime scene. So in this case, the winner is Dexter. Professional forensic certification designed to eliminate evidence against a mail sorter with zero understanding of crime scene investigation. Berkowitz's marksmanship couldn't compensate for complete forensic ignorance. But intelligence only matters if your methods actually work, and that's where surgical precision meets random street violence. Dexter followed identical forensic protocols for virtually every kill, eliminating randomness and physical evidence. According to the Dexter Wiki and established series canon, Dexter's modus operandi followed these exact steps. First, he researched targets through Miami Metro's police database and unsolved case files, gathering conclusive evidence of guilt per Harry's Code. Second, he stalked targets to learn their routines and confirm their crimes. Third, he selected pre-planned killed locations, abandoned buildings, warehouses, targets' own homes, and completely wrapped the space in clear plastic sheeting. Fourth, he approached unsuspecting targets from behind and injected them with M99 tranquilizer, rendering them unconscious. 5th, he transported victims to the prepared kill room. 6th, he restrained them to tables using industrial shrink wrap. 7th, he decorated the room with photographs and evidence of their victims. 8th, he killed them with surgical knives, usually a stab to the heart. 9th, he dismembered bodies using surgical power saws. 10th, he placed the body sections in heavy-duty contractor bags weighted with rocks. And finally, he transported the bags on his boat and dumped them in the Gulf Stream current that carried them into the Atlantic Ocean. Every variable was controlled. Pre-selected locations meant no witnesses and no surprises. Plastic sheeting caught every drop of blood, strand of hair, and fiber. M99 injection prevented struggles or screams. Dismemberment prevented identification. Gulf Stream disposal made body recovery nearly impossible. When Sergeant Dokes suspected him in Season 2 based purely on instinct, even with constant surveillance, Dokes couldn't find physical evidence because Dexter never left any. The Bay Harbor Butcher investigation only happened because scuba divers accidentally discovered his dump site. Otherwise, his victims simply vanished. Dexter's Methodical protocol created identical evidence-free crime scenes for well over 100 kills on screen and implied across nearly 2 decades. Now contrast that surgical precision with a man who shot strangers on public streets. David Berkowitz attacked victims randomly in public locations, leaving witnesses, ballistic evidence, and crime scenes he couldn't control. On July 29, 1976, Berkowitz walked up to a parked car in the Bronx where 18-year-old Donna Loria and 19-year-old Jody Valenti were talking and fired 5 bullets from his .44 revolver into the vehicle, killing Loria instantly and wounding Valenti. On November 27, 1976, 16-year-old Donna Damasi and 18-year-old Joanne Lomino were sitting on Lomino's porch in Belrose, Queens, when a man dressed in military fatigues approached them, asked for directions, then took out a revolver and shot at them. Lomino was paralyzed. On March 8, 1977, Columbia University student Virginia Voskerichian was shot walking home from class and died of a gunshot wound to the head. On April 17, 1977, Alexander Esau and Valentina Siriani were each shot twice while sitting in a car in the Bronx. Both died before they could talk to police. Sal Lupo and Judy Placido were sitting in their car when they were shot with 3 gunshots. They both survived but suffered injuries, and witnesses reported seeing a tall, stocky man with dark hair fleeing the crime scene. Every shooting happened in uncontrolled public locations where witnesses could see him, hear gunshots, and call police immediately. He attacked couples in parked cars on public streets, women walking home from class, and people sitting on porches. Each attack left .44 caliber bullets that ballistics could match across crime scenes. Survivors provided descriptions to police. Witnesses saw him fleeing. He had no kill rooms, no plastic sheeting, no disposal protocols. He simply shot people and left the scene, hoping not to be identified. Berkowitz's random public shootings created uncontrolled crime scenes with witnesses, survivors, and matching ballistic evidence linking all attacks. So once again, the winner here is Dexter. Controlled kill rooms with plastic wrap evidence elimination against random public shootings with witnesses and survivors. Berkowitz's method guaranteed physical evidence and witness testimony at every attack. Drop a comment below and let me know if you were investigating these cases, which would you rather solve? Dexter's invisible victims or Berkowitz's public shootings? Perfect planning means nothing if you are choosing the wrong targets, and that's where calculated victim selection confronts random opportunity. Dexter selected victims who were confirmed murderers evading justice, reducing investigation intensity and eliminating public sympathy. Throughout the Showtime series, Dexter followed Harry's code strictly. He would only kill after finding conclusive evidence that targets were murderers who escaped the legal system. In Season 1, he targeted Father Donovan after confirming his guilt through careful investigation. In Season 4, he hunted Arthur Mitchell, the Trinity Killer, who had committed a long-running series of murders over decades. In Season 7, he killed Viktor Baskov, a Ukrainian contract killer. According to the Dexter Wiki, he killed well over 100 people on screen and implied across 8 seasons. Every target required research through police databases, stalking to confirm guilt, and verification of their crimes. His victims were criminals operating outside society's normal patterns. No regular schedules, no concerned families filing missing person reports, no media coverage demanding justice. Dexter's victim selection created strategic advantages. Targeting criminals meant that investigations didn't prioritize their disappearance. These were bad people whose vanishing didn't generate public sympathy or media pressure. Arthur Mitchell's disappearance triggered a missing person report from his abused wife, but given his documented suspicious behavior during investigation, police assumed he fled. The Bay Harbor Butcher investigation only started because of accidental discovery. not because investigators were searching for Dexter's specific victims. His targets had no alibis, no legitimate connections, no paper trails that investigators could follow. Dexter's calculated criminal targeting meant that his victims' disappearances generated minimal law enforcement response and zero public pressure for resolution. But what happens when your victim pattern is so obvious that the entire city lives in fear? David Berkowitz attacked young random people, often couples, creating obvious patterns that helped investigators connect cases. Berkowitz generally targeted attractive young women with long brown hair, and hundreds of young women had their hair cut short and dyed blonde during the time he terrorized the city. Thousands more simply stayed home at night. Berkowitz killed 6 people and wounded 11 others in shootings between 1976 and 1977 in New York City. His attacks followed geographic patterns across the Bronx, Queens, and Brooklyn. The shooter was dubbed the .44 caliber killer by New York newspapers because he shot strangers, often couples in parked cars, and the women usually had shoulder-length dark brown hair. Police immediately noticed similarities between shootings. Berkowitz sent letters to New York newspapers signing them Son of Sam, a reference to a demon he claimed lived inside the black Labrador retriever owned by his neighbor Sam Carr. Berkowitz's selection created immediate investigative advantages for law enforcement. Young couples, parked cars, women with long dark hair, similar times, late night or early morning, similar locations, residential neighborhoods in outer boroughs. This pattern recognition allowed investigators to link cases immediately. When people matching these descriptions were attacked across different boroughs, detectives knew that it was the same killer. The pattern was so obvious that the public modified their behavior. Women changed their hair, couples avoided parked cars, entire neighborhoods stayed home at night. Compare this to Dexter, whose victims had nothing in common except being criminals. Different ages, genders, methods, backgrounds. There was no pattern to identify, no connections to trace. Berkowitz's pattern-based victim selection gave investigators obvious connections between attacks, while his random targeting created sympathetic victims whose cases received maximum public attention. So in this case, the winner is once again Dexter. Strategic criminal targeting that reduces investigation intensity against random victim selection that created obvious patterns and maximum public pressure. Berkowitz's approach guaranteed intense investigation and public fear. But perfect victims and careful methods mean nothing if simple mistakes expose you, and that's where professional discipline confronts parking violations. Dexter maintained operational security through professional knowledge, controlled environments, and complete evidence elimination. Throughout 8 seasons, spanning well over 100 kills on screen and implied, Dexter's near-capture moments came from external factors, never from forensic evidence. Sergeant Doak suspected him in Season 2 based purely on behavioral instinct, not physical evidence. Even with constant surveillance, Dokes found nothing. The Bay Harbor Butcher investigation discovered his Gulf Stream dump site through accidental discovery by scuba divers searching for treasure, not through investigative work tracing evidence to Dexter. In Dexter New Blood, after 10 years in hiding under a new identity in Iron Lake, New York, he maintained his cover until complex circumstances exposed him, not forensic evidence or investigative work. Even when his sister Deborah walked in on him killing Travis Marshall in Season 6, it was just catastrophically bad timing, not evidence leading her there. Dexter's operational security focused on prevention. He didn't take unnecessary risks. He didn't kill in public. He didn't keep trophies beyond microscope slides with single blood drops hidden behind his air conditioner. He avoided pattern investigators could identify. He varied dump locations. He maintained his friendly lab technician persona perfectly. His only vulnerability was human relationships. Sister, girlfriend, family. Emotional connections that threatened his compartmentalization. His professional knowledge meant that he understood police procedures, investigation priorities, and evidence processing. He could predict what investigators would do because he was one of them. Dexter's operational security meant that his near captures just came from external factors and relationship complications, never from forensic mistakes or investigative patterns themselves. But what happens when basic traffic violations become arrest warrants? David Berkowitz was caught through a parking ticket and witness observation, not sophisticated investigation. On July 31st, 1977, Stacy Moskowitz and Robert Violante were shot in Brooklyn. That night, a woman named Cecilia Davis was walking her dog in the area. She saw a man walking oddly with one arm stiff by his side. Minutes later, she heard gunshots. Davis told police what she saw and mentioned seeing a cop issue a parking ticket to a cream-colored car parked near a hydrant. Detectives checked parking violations in the neighborhood that night. One ticket was issued to a Ford Galaxy registered to David Berkowitz in Yonkers, 25 miles from Brooklyn. Investigators wondered what someone from Yonkers was doing near the murder scene at 2:30 a.m. When detectives visited his Yonkers apartment on August 10, 1977, they found a duffel bag in his car containing ammunition, maps of the crime scenes, and a threatening letter. They waited for Berkowitz to emerge from his apartment and arrested him as he approached his vehicle. Upon his arrest, Berkowitz calmly stated, "Well, you got me," and appeared to be smiling. Berkowitz's capture came from basic mistakes. He parked illegally at a crime scene. He used his own registered vehicle. He didn't consider that parking enforcement documents vehicle locations. His capture didn't require forensic analysis or criminal profiling, just routine police work checking parking tickets. Compare this to Dexter, who never parked his vehicle where it could be documented at crime scenes, never used his personal vehicle for kills when it could be traced, and maintained complete separation between his professional life and his kills. Berkowitz's operational security was non-existent. Berkowitz's capture came from a parking ticket and witness observation, basic police work responding to his fundamental operational failures. So once again, the winner is Dexter. Operational security that avoided unnecessary risk and maintained professional discipline against operational recklessness that led to capture through a parking ticket. Berkowitz's inability to consider basic documentation created the circumstances that caught him. Dexter Morgan was methodical, calculated, professional. Throughout 8 seasons, 8 novels, and well over 100 kills on screen and implied across nearly 2 decades, he operated with forensic precision specifically designed to eliminate evidence. His kill rooms followed strict protocol. His victim selection targeted criminals who wouldn't be missed, and his body disposal made recovery nearly impossible. David Berkowitz was chaotic, random, reckless. Between 1976 and 1977, he killed 6 people and wounded 11 others across New York City, leaving forensic evidence, witnesses, and survivors at virtually every crime scene. His lack of forensic awareness and basic operational security created the evidence trail that ended up catching him. This comparison reveals the massive difference between fictional sophistication and real-world limitations. Dexter's forensic training meant that he understood trace evidence, DNA transfer, fiber analysis, and blood spatter analysis at a professional level. He eliminated evidence because he knew exactly what investigators look for. Berkowitz's postal work and military marksmanship taught him nothing about forensic science. He left .44 caliber bullets at every scene that ballistics matched. He used his own registered vehicle. He parked illegally where parking enforcement documented his presence. Dexter's methodical protocol followed identical procedures for every kill: plastic wrap rooms, controlled environments, surgical dismemberment, ghost stream disposal. Berkowitz's methods involved walking up to people in public places and shooting them. He attacked couples in parked cars, women walking home, people sitting on porches. Every attack had witnesses, survivors, or both. His crime scenes were public streets that he couldn't control. Dexter's calculated victim selection targeted confirmed murderers who evaded justice, criminals whose disappearance wouldn't trigger major investigations. Berkowitz's random targeting of young couples and women with long dark hair created obvious patterns. Every victim matched a physical type. Every attack happened in similar locations. Investigators easily identified the pattern. The public lived in terror. Women changed their appearance. The media coverage was relentless. Dexter's operational security avoided unnecessary risk entirely. His near captures came from external factors: accidental discovery at dump sites, suspicious colleagues, relationship complications, but never from forensic evidence. Berkowitz was captured through a parking ticket. A witness walking her dog noticed his car parked illegally near a crime scene. Police checked parking violations and found his registered vehicle documented at the murder location. Basic police work caught him. The comparison isn't close because one represents fictional perfection designed for entertainment, while the other represents real-world serial killer psychology. Dexter embodies what would be required to actually evade modern law enforcement: professional forensic training, surgical planning, perfect evidence elimination, calculated victim selection, and absolute operational security. Berkowitz represents the reality: no forensic knowledge, random public attacks, obvious victim patterns, and operational failures that led to capture through a parking ticket. If Dexter Morgan existed in the real world with his exact methods, professional forensic analysts, plastic wrap kill rooms, surgical dismemberment, ghost stream disposal, calculated victim selection, he would represent one of the most sophisticated serial killers ever documented. His professional training and evidence elimination protocol would make him extraordinarily difficult to catch. David Berkowitz existed with his exact methods: postal worker with no forensic knowledge, random public shootings, obvious victim patterns, and complete operational ignorance, and was caught through a parking ticket. His marksmanship and letter writing couldn't compensate for not understanding how evidence works or how parking enforcement documents vehicle locations. One man represents fictional serial killer perfection, the other represents real serial killer limitations, and that gap reveals why Dexter remains compelling fiction, while Berkowitz became a case study in how basic police work eventually catches killers who don't understand the systems working against them. If you enjoyed this breakdown comparing Dexter's forensic precision to Son of Sam's real-world chaos, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, and check out our previous video where we compared Dexter Morgan to the infamous Ted Bundy.